Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys making some time out of your day to check the video out and spend some time with me. I always appreciate that. And guys, today we're going to be talking about the most notorious accused cheater in the history of bass fishing tournaments. This is an unbelievable story I'm going to tell you here. And I want to, preface that by saying this is alleged, because after I get into it, I'll explain to you why this is, because there's so much in tournament fishing, especially with the way it used to be before, where there's so much lack of transparency and stuff like this from the tournament organizations that we don't really never know for sure. But we all have heard the saying, where there's smoke there's fire. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. Also, guys, before we get started, your favorite part of the daily videos, the housekeeping tips, I just want to let you guys know, if there's one thing that you can do to help intuitive angling, if you like the content and you want to support the channel from the tips and information you get here, is just go into my video description, every video, and just use and bookmark that Tackle Warehouse link of mine. If you guys use and bookmark that Tackle Warehouse link for your tackle purchases and gear purchases, channel benefits really a lot on that. We get a small percentage of a commission on anything you buy. So if you buy a jerk bait or a bag of worms, the channel gets a small percentage of the profit of those sales. So that's I really appreciated everybody's been doing that. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, again, I want to preface this by saying this is an alleged cheater here, because like I said, there's been no charges filed, but after I tell the story, you'll probably see why. So anyway, guys, this angler is named Tony Christian. Most people that have been in bass fishing have heard of the name Tony Christian, especially if you've been in fishing for a long time. If you're a younger angler or newer to the sport, you probably haven't heard this. But anyway, let me start from the beginning, and I'll sort of explain to you what I have heard about it. Again, I want to preface this. This is not an accusation from my part. All I'm doing is relating stories that I have heard, from a diverse array of sources on there. So I want to preface that before I get into the video. Now, apparently, it all started out with this angler named Tony Christian. I think he was from Georgia, if I remember. It started where he was fishing some BFL tournaments down in Alabama and Georgia. And he went through this series where he was like winning everything. It's like he would either win the tournament, this is over like a 2-year period. He'd either win the tournament or he'd catch big bass. He caught something like 7 big bass, won like 7 big bass awards in the course of a year and a half or something, which is unheard of. And that got him propelled to the BFL All-American down at the Mobile Delta. And I can't remember what year that was. I think this was in the early 2000s or something. But anyway, he went down to the Mobile Delta and won that tournament. He blew it away, actually, which was the first red flag, because the Mobile Delta is a tough fishery, and it was flooded out in this particular tournament, and which makes it even tougher. And he caught 2 5 or 6 pounders in that tournament. He won the tournament by a huge margin. And a 5 or 6 pounder down on that place is like catching a 12 pounder anywhere else. But apparently the place where he caught this, it was this muddy main lake bank, and he was pitching a jig against, I can't remember, it was like a floating drum in the water, like a steel drum or something. Caught these 2 big ones, won the tournament. So then he comes out. I remember reading these interviews they did with him. He was going to fish the FLW Tour the next year. And so he's coming off this All-American win and everything. And I remember he made the statement before we got down there. He goes, "Yeah, I will win Angler of the Year this year, no doubt." And if you've ever watched this dude, I've saw some clips on him, guys. I've seen some clips of this guy fishing. He looks like he's never picked up a rod and reel. It's like he is the most awkward, like amateuristic looking person I've ever seen fight a fish. If you can probably go back in the archives and see some of this stuff. So and also on top of that, it's like it was really odd, because everything that he ever fished was like a big jig or a big worm or something like that anywhere that he went. And I can tell, one of the things about bass fishing, I can tell, guys, I can watch somebody from across the cove, and I can tell you how good of an angler they are by their posture, how they cast, how they retrieve their bait, and how they operate their trolling motor. I don't even have to know anything about it. I've fished long enough and I've studied people long enough. I can tell. And this dude looked like he just started bass fishing. For somebody to have this kind of success, it didn't equate. So anyway, he goes down to Okeechobee at the first tournament of the year, and he gets down there, and I think the first day of the tournament, he can't remember what it was. He was in first or second place after the first day of the tournament. He had like 20-some pounds. And then the second day of the tournament, he has another big bag of fish. But apparently what happened is he got disqualified from the tournament because he went up to he got ready to weigh his bag of fish, and I heard he went to the bathroom or something and left sight of his partner, so he got disqualified for leaving sight of his partner, which was a rule at the time. And so he probably was on course to win that tournament. Then at the next, and by this time, it's like the rumors, all of us on the circuit were hearing these rumors. Like all the pros, everybody, that's what they were talking about. Have you heard about this Tony Christian dude? He's, talking about how he's cheating in tournaments, and nobody's been able to prove it. I mean, this is all speculation at this point. And then the next tournament we go to is at the Chaffalay Basin down in Louisiana. And anyway, that particular tournament, I was fishing in that tournament, and after the second day of the tournament, there was, I'll tell you what happened here, but he was escorted off of the premises. Somebody came down of his boat, got in the boat, took him up to the hill, got him in a black van, got out of the black van after about an hour, went back down to his boat and left, and has never been seen since. Never been seen since. Okay, so this is what I have heard, how this transpired. And again, this is alleged, but I'm telling you the sources I heard. I heard in that particular tournament that there was some dude fishing by this boat dock, and he found a tub full of fish. And apparently this tub was like a big plastic, like the tubs you buy at Walmart, and somebody had taken and cut like an X on the top of it, like you put a straw in a soft drink at the convenience store or something. And apparently what he was doing is he put some big fish in this tank, or in this tub, and these fish had been in there for a week, so they were starving to death. And he positioned it right on the corner of this dock, and he'd pitch in there, and with this heavy jig, and the heavy jig would fall down through that opening, and when those fish would bite it, he'd set the hook, pull it out, and the hole would close up. And so apparently I heard that the Conservation Department or wildlife officers went down there the next day. They marked the fish that night, and then they caught him red-handed doing it the next day. And that's why he was, escorted up there and disqualified from the tournament. But here's the thing about it. There's been no transparency. FLW didn't put anything out on this. It's like they tried, I'm not saying they tried to cover it up, but they didn't address it. It's just like one of those things that just happened, and okay, nothing to see here, let's just move on. So that was the situation. So anyway, the next tournament I went to, I was fishing with this dude who drew him down at Lake Okeechobee, drew this Tony Christian dude, with my co-angler had drew him out. And we were talking about what had happened, and by this time it was in Bass Fan, and everybody knew that this dude had got disqualified, and the rumor was that he'd been cheating and tying out fish. So I fished with this dude down there, and he told me, he goes, "Randy, I fished with Tony Christian down at Okeechobee." He goes, "Let me tell you what happened." He goes, "We started out," this was the first day of the tournament, we had 20-some pounds. He goes, "We started out on an open grass flat, throwing rattle traps out there." And he said, "We fished out there for probably 2 hours, and he caught like 2 or 3 2.5 pound bass." And he said every one of them he caught, he goes, he threw him back in the water. And I go, "What are you doing, man? That was a solid keeper." He goes, "Oh, we're not going to need those by the end of the day." So he's throwing 2.5 pounders back without even having the fish in the live well. So about 10 o'clock, apparently, he pulls up the trolling motor, runs into what's called the Rim Canal at Okeechobee, and Rim Canal's got a bunch of like those barge tie-ups on there. He said this dude, Tony Christian, pulled up to one barge piling and pitched his jig in there 5 times and caught a 19 or 20 pound limit on 5 pitches in a row, and then left and didn't fish any more bridge pilings the rest of the day. So he knew, it's like, he goes, "I knew right then something was up, something was fishy with that." So I've heard a couple different stories. I heard the thing about the tub. I heard that his brother-in-law or something like that, or some relative of his, was a scuba diver and had a bunch of fish on a stringer or something, or in a basket, and Tony would pitch in next to a boat dock, and his cousin or whoever it was would grab a hold of the line and hook the fish on, and reel it in, or he'd be hiding underneath a boat dock or something like that. You never know what the deal is. But anyway, after that tournament, guys, this guy was like gung ho, hard charging. He was winning everything. I think he won the Toyota Series championship or something also. And then all of a sudden, after that Atchafalaya Basin tournament, he disappears from the sport. And I heard some guy shot up his truck, his house, just came by and just filled it full of bullet holes. Again, this is all alleged. This is just what I'm relating to you guys. But anyway, I just wanted to share that story out there. A lot of everybody knows about it. I mean, what's in the fishing industry. This is not anything new, but just one of those deals that's sort of crazy, man. You just never know. So anyway, guys, just wanted to share that story with you. Hope you guys are well. We'll talk later.